Our work today is around slope and finding the slope of a line. Our topic is dividing and calculating the slope of a line. The slope of a line is the same regardless of what two ordered pairs are selected, and by the end of the lesson you should be able to find the slope of a line when given points. This will help us as we work with linear equations and then later on systems of linear equations. We have lots of options for how we work with lines and linear equations and graphs. So the definition of slope is that slope is the rate of change between any 2 points on a line. Slope measures the steepness of a line. So you can think of slope exactly like you think of a ski slope and how steep it is. You know that those easy ones, the blues, are really not very steep at all, whereas the triple black diamond, pretty steep. In order to find the slope of a line, there are a couple of different things that you can do. Basically, the slope of a line, to find the slope of a line, you find the ratio of the change in y, which is the vertical change, to the change in x, which is the horizontal change. So slope is equal to triangle. This triangle is the Greek symbol delta, and delta means change. You'll see it in both math and science. So this stands for the change in the y over the change in the x, and you do this ratio. And you have to remember this because it's y over x. Instinct tells us to go x over y, but you need to remember it's the change in y over the change in x. So let's plot a couple of points. Let's go with +4, +6. So you may need to pause the video right now as you draw in a coordinate grid and do +8, -8 on both axes. And let's look at 2, +3. So we have 2 points right there, and we can draw a line, not very straight, sorry. I haven't figured out how to do a straight edge with this yet. Okay. And we can count the change, okay, in vertical. So if we went from this point to this point, it changes vertically 1, 2, 3. So the change in y is 3, and now we have to go for the change in x, which is horizontal. We're going this way, 1, 2. So our slope is 3 over 2. Okay, so informal to formal. Slope, informally we call it the rise over the run. The rise up and down, the run side to side. This is kind of the basic way that we do it. I showed you change in y over change in x. And then from now on in your mathematics class, you'll see it written this way right here, which is the most formal. It's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And these x and y, 1s and 2s, stand for the coordinate pairs. Okay, oops. All right, so let's find a couple of coordinate pairs on this line right here. Let's go with -1 and 1 right there, and +1, -2 right there. So if we were finding the slope, once again, we would take these points. So let's take our points. We would go 1, 2, +3 up, and 1, 2, -2 over. So we have a -3 over 2 slope on this one. The other way, if you want to go to the y1, y2, you need to write down the coordinates. So our coordinates here are -1 and 1, and our coordinate pair here, 1, -2. So what we do we determine which set of numbers is our first number and which is our second. So I'm going to call this our first set and this our second. So we can take the y term from the second one, which is a -2, subtract the y coordinate from the first one, and then I can take the x coordinate from the first one, or the second one, and subtract the x coordinate from the second one. So -2 minus 1 gives us a -3 overall, and then 1 minus a negative, remember, so it's plus. So we get 1 plus 1 gives us a 2. So we're still the same slope, -3 over 2, 3 over -2. Doesn't matter where the negative symbol is, it's still going to get us a negative number for the slope. All right, for this line right here, let's go ahead and plot a couple of points and determine the slope of this line. So let's go ahead and look at -3, -1 right here. And I'll go ahead and write that in, -3, -1, and +3, +4, +3, +4 right here. Three, 4. Okay, so we can use the rise over the run. So the change vertically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our change vertically was 5. And our change horizontally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is our rise over our run. Now, if we were given just these coordinate points to use, let's call this one the first set and this one the second set. So if we were taking the y term from the second set, which is a -1, minus the y term from the first set, which is a 4, and then the x term from the second set, so our x term was a -3, and our x term from the first, which was a 3. -1 minus 4 gets us a -5. -3 minus 3 gets us a -6. So when we have both negatives right here, these cancel out, so our slope is 5, 6, just like we got over here with the rise over the run. You do need to get used to this method because you will have numbers that are not whole numbers, or you won't have a graph to be able to count those points. You can always make one. All right, so now let's look at using slope to create a line. So we are given the point -4, +1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You might want to draw yourself a new coordinate graph. And then we have our slope, which is 3 over 4. Well, remember, this is the rise, so this is the vertical change. And this is the run, and this is the horizontal change. So we need at least 2 points to have a line, and we can use this point that we're given and our slope to find another point so we can draw in our line. So we need to go vertically 3, 1, 2, 3, and horizontally +4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is another point for us at 0, 4. And then we take our straight edge and we draw a line. I cheated a little bit on mine. Okay, let's try another one. If you are given the point 2, 0, so +2, 0, and a slope of 3 over 4, this one is the vertical, this one is the horizontal, so we're going 3 vertically, 1, 2, 3, and 4 horizontally. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then you use your straight edge to draw your line. Here's some more practice. What if you're given the point 2, 1? So let's go here, 1, 2, positive 1, and put our point in. And now we have a negative 4 over 3. So again, this is our vertical, this is our horizontal. We need to go negative 4. So which direction are we going? That's right, we're going down. So down negative 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. But then we're still going to the right because it's positive 3. 1, 2, 3. And there is our second point, and here is our line. Let's try one more. If you have point given to you -1, -1, right here in quadrant 3, and the slope is again -4 over 3. This is the vertical change. This is the horizontal change. So we're going vertically, -4, which means we're moving down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and there's our other point, and now we have 2 points, and we can draw a line. Now it's time for you to try. So go ahead and draw a fresh coordinate grid and pause the video as you go through these. So we want to find the slope of the line that contains the following points. -1, -2. So I want to go -1, -2, and +2, +2. Okay. So here is the rise over the run, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So our change vertically is 4, and our change horizontally is 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. So for this one, our change is 4. Our slope is 4 over 3, or I can put that right up there. 4 over 3. Okay. Now, I also could have done change in y over change in x. I could call this group 1 and this group 2. So I take my y value for my group 2, which is 2, minus my y value for group 1, which is a -2. Take my x value from the second group and subtract my x value from the first group. 2 minus a -2 gives me a 4. 2 plus a -1 is a 3. So there we go. All right. Let's get back to where we were before I was so rudely interrupted. Okay. All right. So next problem over here. Let's put our points at -1, +2. Ooh. Technology. Okay, -1, +2. And +3, -3. All right, we can use our vertical change. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we went down, so that's a -5. And our horizontal change, 1, 2, 3, 4. So -5 over 4. And again, we could have called this group 1 and this group 2. Taken our y term from our second set minus our y term from our first set, change in y, change in x, the x term from the second set minus the x term from the first set. So I have -3 minus 2, which is a -5, and 3 minus a -1 minus a negative means plus, so 4. So 5 over 4 is the slope for that line. All right, so for the following points, determine the slope of the line. So -4 -1 is right there. And then +2, +1 is right there. Vertically, 1, 2. Horizontally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2/6, or 1/3. And then here, -3, 1, and -5, -4, -5, -4, there we go. And the change vertically is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the change horizontally is 1, 2. Okay. All right. And going back to the mountain, which one of these ski slopes is a steeper slope? That's correct, the green. Be sure to write down or mark any areas of confusion so we can go over them in class. See you in class.